Hello, dear children. Today, shall we discuss the beginning part of the lesson, the 100 dresses 2. In 100 dresses 1, we have seen that Vanda Petronsky has won the drawing competition conducted in the school, and while declaring the result of the competition, she was absent in the class. So all became very sad because of her absence, and they were waiting for her the next day, and they all wanted to congratulate her, and they all felt guilty for not accepting her as a friend. So all were gathered around the drawings, and all were speaking in the class. Right then, Miss Mason, their class teacher, attracted their attention by clapping her hands. And she said, I have to tell you something. I have got a letter from Vanda Petronsky's father. And she went through the letter very carefully, and she became thoughtful after reading the letter. Then she told the student, then she read out the letter to the class. The letter read like this: Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jake also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler polak. No more ask why funny names. Plenty of funny names in big city. Yours truly, Jan Petronsky. That was the letter to the class teacher by Vanda's father. So in that letter, it was said that Vanda's family was moving to a big city where nobody would tease her, or nobody would mock them for coming from Poland, or being, nobody would call them as Polak or tease them by calling as Polak, and nobody would laugh at their funny names, because a lot of immigrants are there in a big city, and nobody is going to consider one or two single names, because many are there in such different names. So they were moving to a big city. That was the letter, the content of the letter. Then, after hearing the letter, there was a deep silence in the classroom. All became thoughtful. Already the class teacher became very thoughtful, and she became very embarrassed reading the letter. Now all became all children became thoughtful, and she, after some gestures that after showing some gestures that she was going to tell something very serious, or something which is of great importance to the students, she told the students that she was sure that none of the boys or girls from my class would tease a girl or hurt anybody's feelings by calling, because of his or her name, because of her name name was an unfamiliar one, or because of having an unfamiliar or different name, nobody in my class would deliberately or purposefully hurt anyone's feeling. I know that. But if you have done like that, I know that it was because of your thoughtlessness. And I feel very guilty of that, and I feel very bad of that. And I think that you also are feeling the same way I am feeling now. Then again she said, it was it was a very unfortunate happening, or unfortunate incident that happened in the class, and unfortunate and sad also. And I want you to think you all about the happenings. That was the description by Miss Mason, their class teacher. Then after this, their first period was a study period. and all were engaged in studies. But Maddie, from there onwards, again, the lesson is going through the thoughts of Maddie, the second character of our story. Maddie, though she was engaged in her studies, she could not concentrate in her studies. She was thinking only about what they had done to Wanda Petronsky. She had a very sick feeling in her heart. She was thinking, even though she did not even though she did not take part in teasing Wanda Petronsky, even though she did not say anything to Wanda while the other children or Peggy was teasing her, but she stood silently hearing all these things. She did not protest it. And Maddie thought it was more worse than what Peggy has done to Wanda, because Peggy was not aware of what she was doing. She was not conscious about what she was not doing. But Maddie was really conscious about the wrong thing they were doing to Wanda Petronsky. By knowing that it was wrong, she stood silent without protesting. So now she thinks it was more worse than what Peggy had done to Wanda Petronsky. So now she thought, wasn't there anything she could do that time? If only she could tell Wanda that she hadn't meant to hurt her. Now she wanted to meet Wanda again. She wanted to tell her. Now, in the class, while engaged in studies, she stole a glance at Peggy, and Peggy was seriously engaged in her studies. So Maddie thought she might not be disturbed by the letter of Wanda's father. Anyway, she thought after the class, we would go to Wanda's house, or we would go in search of Wanda. They would not have left the town till now. So they would go to Wanda's house and to tell her three things. She wanted to tell her three things. What were the three things? She wanted to tell her that she had won the drawing competition. And the second thing is that they thought she was a smart girl. And the third thing is that her drawings were all very beautiful. Her designs were very beautiful. She wanted to convey these three things to Wanda Petronsky. So she wanted to go to Bogin's Heights to meet Wanda Petronsky after the class. She thought of asking Peggy's company to go there. But what happened after the class, that was a surprise to Maddie. Because after the class, it was Peggy who said in a pretended casual manner that whether they could go to Bogin's Heights and to meet Wanda Petronsky. That was very much surprise to Maddie. She thought Peggy was also feeling very hurt or guilty inside her heart for hurting Wanda that way. So both of the children, both Peggy and Maddie decided to go to Bogin's Heights after the class to meet Wanda Petronsky. There we ended today's class, and the rest of the story we will learn in our next class. Read the story and go through all the details, and have a nice day.